I have been able to share stages with around the country. I've been able to travel with. I know them really well. Even know what kind of wine they drink. So it's awesome. But these three powerhouse women have been able to really make some significant changes and impact during the pandemic, and still have been able to pivot and move their businesses. So what I would like to do is go through and let each one of them kind of tell you a brief bio about themselves. And we'll start with Melanie.
Oh, geez. Hi, everyone. My name is Melanie McSally. I am a profit optimization and technology expert. I started as a software engineer, spent over a decade at Harvard University helping them transform their IT department. And then I moved on to smaller businesses to really hone in my skills in being able to serve all different types of markets and sizes of business. And now I am making technology accessible to entrepreneurs and small business owners. I have a mission to help millions be able to live a life of freedom by streamlining and optimizing their business.
Awesome. You're just on top of your stuff. And I actually work with Melanie on my funnel, so it's really awesome. And she's been able to help me kind of capture what I need to capture and use the technology needed in order to have everything go smoothly. And so I don't have to do much, which is so awesome. So Melanie is amazing. And we have two other awesome speakers here. I'd love to hear from Farhana.
Hey everyone, my name is Farhana Cannon and I'm a social media and brand expert and the founder of iMedia Exposure. And I help brands attract and convert their perfect client online. And we create strategic marketing plans that help them really showcase their brand story and connect with their perfect customer online. And then we create the frame line for them to create their funnels. So I work a lot with Melanie, with my customers, and we create what the brand is supposed to look like and feel like, and really figure out who our customer is and what their needs are, and how we can really create a pipeline for them to be fully served. And then Melanie works with implementing all of the automation and creating the technical side of all of these funnels so that you are completely automated.
Thank you, Farhana. Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. I had the honor of sitting on a balcony in Mexico with Farhana, and she went through my social media and kind of gave me a lot of pointers as to what I need to delete, which was a lot, you guys, and then what I really needed to focus on in order to focus on my perfect customer or client. So her services are definitely needed, and she's doing amazing things in 2020. And our next speaker, I have been able to work with and travel with for over the past year. Angel, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Well, hey, Michelle. Hey, girls. How you doing? It's fun to be on a stage together again. We used to travel the world together. We've been out of the world, out of the country, on different continents, and so it's nice to be together here on this panel. So, Michelle, thanks so much for inviting us. I'm Angel Tuccy. I am a media exposure specialist. I teach entrepreneurs the power of a media interview, being an invited guest on radio, television, magazines, podcasts, summits, leveraging the power of what I call OPP, other people's platforms, to attract more leads, create publicity, and create exposure for your brand. And the beauty of working with Michelle, Farhana, and Melanie is that we all serve our clients in a very unique way, but coming together, it's a very comprehensive way to grow your business, your brand, attract more leads, make more money, and just have fun while you're doing it.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing what Angel has been able to do for a lot of her customers. I was one of her clients and still kind of am one of her clients. I call her all the time. Hey, what about this? Can we do this? For press releases. And, she was actually able to get me on CBS, NBC, and Fox. So really awesome. And it's great to be able to utilize social media and just platform for media exposure in general, to be able to grow your brand and grow your business. So speaking of brands and speaking of customers, ladies, what I would like to ask is, there's a lot of people struggling right now trying to identify who their customer is and how to really reach their perfect customer. So my question to you all is, how do you identify who that perfect customer is for you? And then what are your techniques that you use to reach out to them?
I can start with that one.
Go ahead, Farhana.
I think that a lot of times when we all probably work with people, they're like, oh, well, everyone can buy my product. And yes, that's true. But basically, everyone has very specific target demographics. I like to break them up into 5 different personas. And those are 5 different people. And we play a game and we name them and have very specific things about them. So your number 1 would be your super perfect client. And of course, you're not going to find the same person exactly, thousands of times, but you can get close to it. So what I have my clients do is really figure out, what is the problem that they solve and who has that problem and who has, the need for that, and really specifically define that. And then going into, okay, that's your perfect person, and then your next perfect person. And then there might be a partnership or an affiliate or something of that nature. Or maybe there's a very niche community that you serve. So you might want to talk to them here and there, but they're not going to be your primary target. So I think when people really clearly define who they're going to serve and have their voice and their messaging attract that person, that's the first step. And then figuring out where they hang out. What groups are they in? What kinds of things are they interested in? And what types of things do they read? Are they on different news outlets? How do they like to be communicated with? Do they like emails? Do they like text messages? Do they respond to social media ads? What social media platforms are they really spending their time on? So I think that, when people are really figuring out this whole marketing mix, it's super important to really define those people and then figure out, what avenue to go down.
Awesome. Yeah, Farhana, that actually dove really deep into how you find your perfect customer and client. And I'd really love to learn about your 5 different personas and the games that you play. And maybe we can discuss that in a little bit after we allow the other 2 beautiful women to answer that question. But thank you so much for sharing. Who wants to take it next? Angel, go for it.
Well, I love how Farhana said that, most people say, well, anybody, who's a perfect client? Anybody who pays me. I've heard people actually say that. And that means that they haven't gotten really clear about who that perfect client is for them. And yet we all have, not only demographically, but geographically, psychographically, like who they are, where they hang out, what their habits are. And when I'm leveraging the power of media and publicity, we don't always have the luxury of only speaking in front of our target audience, right? Publicity is a bigger net. So how do we make sure that we are attracting that perfect client is to make sure that you are speaking directly. You don't have to speak in generalities when you're being interviewed on a radio show, on a magazine, or even in your press release. Speak very specifically to that person. Not anybody who's ever looking at buying a car, but you need a new car. Like, your car's a junker. Your car's not going to make it to the next, oil change. Right? Speak very specifically to who your target audience is, who that ideal client is, as if that person is listening. Because when you're speaking on being interviewed on a radio show or on a podcast, while yes, you're speaking to an audience, that person is listening like one-on-one. You're speaking directly to that person who's listening. So you can be really intimate. You can connect very deeply with your target audience when you speak one-on-one and very specifically to them. And then having a great call to action, how you get them into your sales funnel, what you want them to do next. If you connect more deeply with them by telling your story, they hear your voice, you're speaking to them one-to-one, that opt-in will attract that perfect lead into your sales funnel. So not everybody listening, and you don't want everybody. You really only want to talk to buyers, not tire kickers, not fence sitters, not people that are going to waste your time. You can really leverage that power of publicity to attract buyers when you've got that perfect opt-in, that perfect call to action, which really does set Melanie up for this part of the conversation.
Yes, it does. That's very, very true. So Melanie, why don't you go ahead and take it from there?
Yeah, so since Farhana and Angel did a great job at the how, let me just talk about the why for a second. Because when you're thinking about going out for eat, what's the first thing you ask yourself? What am I in the mood for? And you ask yourself that because you're not going to go to an Indian restaurant to eat pizza. You're not going to go to a seafood restaurant to eat Chinese food. You're going to go to the restaurant that has whatever it is that you're in the mood for, right? So you don't want to be what's that saying again? Farhana and I were trying to discuss it the other day and I couldn't remember the beginning, but the end of it is master of none, right? You don't want to be the buffet for somebody, right? You want to be the expert in your industry and you want to convey that in all of your messaging. So knowing exactly who you're targeting allows you to speak to them directly, as Angel was saying, to use the right language. Jack of all trades, master of none. Thank you, Angel. Yeah, so it allows you to change your messaging. So for instance, I wouldn't speak the same way to a 20-year-old as I would to a 60-year-old. So, and I wouldn't find them in the same place, right? I'm not going to find an 80-year-old really hip to Instagram. You know, I'm not going to find them on Snapchat. I probably won't even find them on TikTok, right? So knowing who they are will allow you to know where to serve them. There's two things in your business that will answer all questions. One is having a vision, and the other is knowing your perfect audience. So if you have a vision and know your perfect audience, you'll know exactly what to say, when to say it, how to say it, and what to say, like what to deliver, like what your products need to be, what you need to do next in your business.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing because it's so important to know your vision, know your mission, so you can identify your perfect client and customer. It's incredible that all three of these ladies have a very, very large client base, and you wonder how they have been able to do that in 2020 and in this crazy time we call life right now. And it's just being able to pivot and being able to know who you're speaking to. And like these ladies have said, it's been very interesting speaking on stages because not everybody in that audience is supposed to be your client. So if you're speaking on a stage and there's 50 people in the audience, maybe 5 or 10 of them are gonna be your client. I know that I specifically deal with a lot of women and younger women who have dealt with some type of trauma. So I probably am not going to impact that 85-year-old man sitting in my audience. I could, it doesn't mean I won't, but he's probably not gonna be able to utilize my skill set and use what I'm trying to teach and train. So super, super important. It's really awesome. I know that we all have mentors, and I know that we all look up to people, and we all like piggyback off of what people are doing and saying, and coaches. What I want to hear from you guys is the importance of a good coach, of why you all are good coaches, but why you really need to have that person in your back pocket. So we can go backwards, and Melanie, if you want, you can start this time.
I'm going to defer to Angel. She hasn't gone
Okay,
first.
good. Angel goes first.
Well, I will tell you what, I haven't gotten where I am without coaches. I would not be where I am at all without the coaches that I've listened to, that I've taken advice from, that have walked the walk before me. And that's what you're really looking for, is somebody who has been there, done that. They've made the mistakes, they've seen the successes and the trials, and they know the shortcuts and the secrets and the tips and the tricks, and they're willing to share that with you and pull out of you. They'll often see greatness in you that you don't see in yourself. And I think that so many of the coaching calls that I end up on, publicity is not rocket science, and it's not even, once you've been in it, for me, it's not complicated, but so often my clients are afraid to step into that space and to put themselves out there. It's very vulnerable to publish your book or have your words in print or to be interviewed. But yet your story matters every single day. Right now, somewhere in the world, somebody is reading something, they're watching something, and they're going to have a breakthrough. And it might as well be your story that has that breakthrough, that shares that breakthrough through with them, because they are looking for it. But there's a cute little test that I saw once on whether or not you could use a coach, and that is to raise your hand as high as you can. So ladies, raise your hand as high as you can. Play with me, right? So we have it as high. Now raise it a little higher. So that's the thing. Like, I asked you the first time to raise it as high as you can, and we did. But with a coach, you could raise it just a little bit higher. And then they're even going to ask you to stretch even more. It's the same when we go and work out at a gym, right? And we've got somebody who's having us go and do those few extra crunches and take that little extra thing, and they're counting you down. They're just inspiring you. They're encouraging you. And then they are there. And I think this is something we don't ever think about. They're there to celebrate that success with you at the end, right? When you've hit that accomplishment, when you've done something you never thought you were going to do, something you might have talked yourself out of, they are there to celebrate you and to celebrate that moment. But then at the same time, let's see if we can stretch, right? Here's where you thought you were going to go. This is how far you thought. I've got a gal who came to me 2.5 years ago, and she says, Angel, I just want to speak on more stages. Pretty common, right? I just want to speak on more stages. 2.5 years later, she is running an entire global streaming network, the ultimate stage of television. And she laughed. She's like, when I came to you, I thought I was dreaming big. But once you open the door, because media attracts media and stages attract stages, that you don't even know what's on the other side of the river until you've gone down through it. And it's really nice to do that with a guide. And that's what we all need, is kind of a guide to take us through that jungle that will be there when it's scary, to help pick us back up, but more importantly, to celebrate that success, that success when we've achieved something that we never thought we could.
I love that. Celebrate, because we have to celebrate our small victories, because every small victory will lead up to that large main victory that you guys are all hoping for and wanting to achieve. So absolutely amazing insight from Angel Tuccy. Thank you so much. Ladies, who would like to piggyback off of that?
I can go next.
Okay, perfect.
So like what Angel said, I wouldn't have also gotten as far as I did without having coaches. And I think that one of the most important parts of it for me was that instead of having to try to figure it all out all alone, I started my company when I was 26. And, when you're 26, you think you know everything, but you really don't. And it was really nice to have people that had already done the things and knew which of the things worked and which one of the paths, or, the step-by-steps. We may know hypothetically, we might know intellectually what the things are that we need to do to get to our final destination or go down the path that we'd like. But I think knowing in which order to put the pieces in, and there's so many different options as well. But if we have somebody that's like, okay, that doesn't work, this works for what you want to do, because we look at other people and we say, oh, well, it works for them. And then we have to really think about, is that the same target demographic? Is that the same kind of product? What is your real benefits of what you're selling? Is it the same? And so when you have a coach, they kind of have already had the experience. They really are working with you to understand what you're doing and to put the steps in order. And when I'm working with my clients, they have all of these things, and I have a very systematic process. It's okay, we do this, this, and this, and they're all over the place and overwhelmed. And then we're just like, okay, we're going to go through this, and they get ease out of it because I'm holding their hand through the process. And it's not like they couldn't do it, but they just don't necessarily know the system. And there's a ton of research that you can do, but it saves so much time and you get to, your destination a lot quicker if somebody's there saying, okay, don't bother with that, do this in this order, and I got you. I can help you. I'll introduce you to this person. This is the tool that you need to use. I think that from my experience working with clients, that's helped them greatly, as well as me, achieving my goals. We can't do everything alone. And I think as humans, we're supposed to be in partnership and in community and, supporting one another. And that's how we all kind of are happy and achieve our goals.
Yeah, that is so awesome because we can't do everything alone. If we try, then we tend to fail a lot more often. And just like Farhana was saying, you need a process and you need systems. And what a great lead into what our next speaker does, because she's super great at systems. So Melanie, what's your take on coaches and why are they so important?
So I've been an athlete for a long time. So one thing that we learn as an engineer is that you can pull from markets and use in other markets to serve problems or solve problems in other markets. So one thing, coaches come from the land of athletics, but athletes know that you can really optimize your path to success by learning from somebody who has gone there before you, right? Who has suffered all of the hurdles and made it over them, that has really learned like what tricks work and what don't, and what matter for whether or not they're going to work for you. And so like Farhana was saying earlier, is that a solution can work for somebody, it can also be detrimental for somebody else. So a coach will also help you understand, well, what are the variables at play that will help you choose the right solution for you? Because even with a coach, they might not have all the same variables that you do. And the main reason to use a coach is that they know that, right? And so they're not solving their own problems. They're there to understand you and help you on your journey. So understanding your variables and optimizing your path to success. And I think the other thing, like Angel was saying, that a coach brings you is that they help you with all the limiting beliefs that arise, because we all have them and they change over time, and sometimes they come out of nowhere. And I think all of us have spent a lot of time in our own businesses helping our clients overcome limiting beliefs in one way, shape, or form, whether it's that they're not good enough, or whether it's they're not going to achieve success, or whether they can't do something, or whether something's not possible. And I think we're all here to just say, it is possible, you can do it, people deserve to work with you, and celebrate that success, and remind you to celebrate the small milestones as well as the large ones, and to celebrate the fear that comes up, because it's going to come up. But as long as you can utilize that to drive you, utilize the naysayers to drive you, then you'll always be success. You'll always be able to turn that into success.
And isn't that so important to be able to remember? Because oftentimes we let those limiting beliefs control us and stop us from growth and inhibit us from where we know we're supposed to go. And we believe John down the street or Nancy in church saying that we can't do it. And when we believe them and constantly think they're right, then you are just going to stop in your tracks and not grow. And this is why it is so important to have a cheerleader on your team, a coach, a mentor, somebody who always pushes you to move forward and move past all of these negative beliefs and what these naysayers, like Melanie was saying, what these naysayers are saying, because what they say doesn't matter, because where you're going is so far beyond where they are that it does not matter. And that's why it is so important. Thank you, ladies, for sharing that, why it's so important to have a coach. On that specific topic, we have all had obstacles and barriers that we've had to break through. And we've all been in a position where we had to make a decision. We're either going to take the left road or the right road. And when we have made that decision, our lives completely changed. I know all of us have had that experience. I'd love for each and every one of you to talk a little bit about how you got to where you are now. What was it that caused you to really move? What lit the fire under your butt to make you go so fast and so far? And I kind of just want to hear a little bit about your backstory as to what makes you guys so awesome. Farhana?
So I started my business about 10 years ago, and I was doing a lot of event marketing for different brands like Moet Hennessy, Kind's Healthy Snacks, Lolita Skincare, a bunch of different brands that are well known. And what I was noticing is that they were not really taking on social media as a tool to really market their business. And we were spending tons and tons of money on these experiential marketing stunts. And they were fantastic. But I saw that there was a missing in this like utilization of social media. And I made suggestions and things like that. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to start my own company and do all of these things. And I took on some smaller clients and started building. And then I attended Power Team International's Rainmaker and met Bill Walsh and did this Rainmaker in Costa Rica. And he renamed my business because he's like, that's like, no one's going to get it. And I was like, okay, cool. So, he helped me with iMedia exposure, just very basic, very to the point. And then he told me, he's like, you're really good at what you do. You're, really smart. You should speak on stage. And I was like, absolutely not. I'm not getting up on stage and speaking. Everyone's going to be staring at me. And, like we discussed before, limiting beliefs. And my limiting belief was that everyone was going to I was going to go up there and everyone was going to judge me. And then he goes, well, why do you do what you do? And I said, I love helping people make their dreams come true by growing their business. And he said, you can help more people if you get on stage and speak to many people all at once. And I said, okay, you're right. Let's do this. And so even though I had all of this fear, my why, my vision, like my purpose overruled that. And I think too, when I'm working with my clients, like everyone is like, oh, I don't really want to share everything on social media. And I tell them, I'm like, well, if we don't share these things, if we don't share your knowledge, if we don't share you with the world, you are a contribution and you can inspire somebody and make a difference. And so taking on like that, why I'm doing it and that contribution to the world and helping other people, I get over my fear of everyone like judging me, because it's really not that significant, because if I can help people, who cares if a couple of people will say whatever they're going to say, because they're going to say whatever they're going to say anyways.
No, that's awesome, because it's so important to remember that your story is impactful and empowering, and you speaking up and being transparent and sharing everything that you can on stage will impact not just one or two, but hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people. And that's what you've been able to do, Farhana. You've been able to impact hundreds of thousands of people because you took that step, you took that advice that you got from Bill Walsh and went on stage, and now you're on platforms around the world and speaking and sharing your knowledge and your story and helping so many people, which is awesome. And that's what all four of us, I can't count, all four of us are doing, which is great. And I'd love to hear, Angel, maybe a little bit about your story and how you ended up where you are now.
Well, I think one thing that we all have in common is that we are all graduates of Power Team's Platinum Speaker Program. And I know Bill Walsh is speaking today on the Best You Expo. And I met Bill when I was in broadcasting. I was a broadcaster here in Denver, Colorado, hosting a 2-hour daily talk show, a positive business talk show, and then a second 2-hour Christian lifestyle show. So I was hosting 4 hours of talk radio when I met him at a small business expo. And I became a rainmaker, attended a couple of their events, and ended up going to the Platinum Speaker Program. Because even though I spoke on radio, it's very different speaking in front of a room full of people that can see you when you're talking. So I was just taking the course to improve, because I was always invited to MC events, to speak at other events as a local radio host, and wanted to feel more comfortable in that space. And 6 weeks, I think it was 6 weeks after I graduated from the Platinum Speaker Program, I walked into my radio station all prepped to do 4 hours, right? 2 different shows back to back. And my producer called me in and said, Angel, we've made a change. And that was it. 5 minutes later, I'm being escorted out of the building with my disco ball and my cardboard box and a client that had flown in from Miami to Denver to be a guest on the show that day. And so I was fired, right there on the spot, no warning, nothing. And I could have let that really devastate me. I was 48 years old. I'd had a career. I was known in the Denver market for being a radio show host. At the same time, my 2 oldest daughters had decided they were going to move from Denver to Florida. So I was becoming an empty nester, decided that my co-host, we had a business together. We decided to close that business. So, I mean, the floor just fell out from underneath me, right? My business shut down, everything I thought I knew, my children leaving, 48 years old, what do I do? Well, my next call was to Bill Walsh, and I said, I'm hooking my wagon to you. I'm going to try this public speaking thing. Do you think that people would want to know about media exposure, about getting booked on radio? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. And so stayed in my lane, did what I knew. And I think that fear or success trumps fear. So if you're afraid of it, but you have a success over it, that'll keep you going and motivate you. I think, Michelle, you were at one of the very first events that I ever spoke on stage at. And, it was a very spontaneous event that I ended up at. But if you're not sure and you're afraid of it, and like, we have nothing to lose, right? Like Farhana said, she was worried that people would judge her. They will, right? That's the kind of society that we live in. But so what? You'll never be criticized. I just posted this morning. You'll never be criticized by somebody doing less than you are. And so what we do, I think we hold ourselves to such a high expectation. We beat ourselves up over what we think we can do and can accomplish. So we run circles around people. And I think we need to celebrate that and remind ourselves of what we do every day. But what got me here was aligning with the right people, doing what I love, and just celebrating those little successes along the way.
Yeah, it's super important to remember that you won't be criticized by somebody doing less than or more than you. Only somebody doing less than you. Right?
Yes, only somebody doing less.
Yeah, and where we want to go with our lives and what we want to do, we don't want to be with the people who are doing less than us. We don't want to be in that group, that cohort of men and women who sit and talk trash about people or sit and drink beer every single day, and they're not moving their lives forward. They're not traveling. They're not doing what it is that they want to do, and they just settle. And I think that the people who criticize and lash out are the people who are really upset with themselves for not taking that step. And Angel, yeah, I did get to see you on stage, one of your very first talks, and you were wearing bright pink like me. And I still remember you were in bright pink, and like your brand, your color is still pink. And I remember seeing you on stage and Bill Walsh, introducing you, and I was like, who is this girl? I have to know her. I have to know what she's all about. I have to learn from her. And it's so important because I've learned from every single one of these beautiful, talented women on this panel. And it's just like we're going to be learning from Melanie, because her story is pretty awesome, pretty crazy. So Melanie, why don't you take it and let us hear a little bit about you?
Sure. So I'm a big believer that the universe is here to support you. And it does that twofold. It puts things in your way when you have a lesson to learn. And it also gives you all of these sort of synchronicities in life that will help you keep going, right? And so when I was young, I was this like happy-go-lucky child. I explored, I created, I had this huge imagination, and my dad was an entrepreneur, so I wanted to be an entrepreneur. But when I went to school, I was surrounded by bullies. And so from kindergarten all the way through high school, I was bullied by various people in school. And so that kind of sort of, beat me down and like took away from my imagination and took away from my zest, right? And so when I was in school, I was basically creating these escape worlds for myself. I was creating in my imagination a better world, like what could be rather than what is. And I was living in them in my imagination. And I would do this through playing sports, through going out and exploring in our hometown and whatever. And I did this so much that I almost actually flunked out of school. In high school, I had 99 kids in my graduating class, and I was number 98. Yep. So, but
I didn't know that.
yeah,
I didn't know that either. I would have never thought that.
right? So there's always another side to an equation. So, but the fact that I got that high school diploma, I thought, oh, I'm done. I crossed this finish line. We're all set, right? Like, done. No more bullying in my life. But my mom, who, is married to a retired Navy officer and who climbed the ladder to be the vice president of 5 companies all simultaneously, she was like, you're going to get a college degree. I don't care how long it takes you. I don't care what it's in. You're just going to get one. That's just how it's going to be. And luckily so, because I did go on and get a college degree. I got a bachelor's in software engineering, a master's in engineering management. I have a Lean Six Sigma black belt, which doesn't mean I can beat up bullies. It just means I'm really good at optimizing. But the first school that I went to actually had nothing to do with any of that. It was pastry arts. I went to school at Johnson & Wales in Rhode Island, and I decided I was going to make the best out of the situation, so I picked something that I thought would be fun and short, because it's only a 2-year program. And I thought, okay, well, I'm going to make this fun. So I joined the cake decorating club. And, I just was going to school to like have fun, right? Make the best out of it. But in joining the cake decorating club, I actually was asked to go and cook in Julia Child's kitchen. I was asked to help make the desserts for the opening night at the Providence Convention Center. And the head chef of that event asked me to interview for a position. And I said, sure, why not? I was a dumb kid. I was like, I'll do anything, whatever. You always say yes. That's number one. You always say yes. So I said yes. So I interviewed for this position, which was the executive pastry chef at a very prestigious country club in Rhode Island. And I got the job. So within my first month of college, I became the youngest ever executive pastry chef at this really prestigious country club. And I realized, like it's all in perspective. If you can just change your perspective on something, you can change the outcome. And so I quickly learned that pastry wasn't for me. So I went on to get all these degrees in computer science and engineering. And what I learned when I was an executive at Harvard and Berkeley and all these places is that bullies are everywhere. You can lead from anywhere. And your message is too small to stay within the confines of one organization. So I quit my job. I sold my $500,000 home. I gave away everything I owned that didn't fit in my Honda Civic. I met Mr. Bill Walsh. I went to speaker camp. And I've been a digital nomad serving people all over the world ever since.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. There's so much there that I didn't know. And I mean, I've been traveling and speaking and doing events with Melanie for a year now, almost a year. I remember the first time Melanie and I met, it was at an event for Kiss the Monkeys, Kiss the Mermaids, and she showed up with Bill Walsh, and I had no idea who she was, and I was going through some personal things at that time, and I just we just kind of looked at each other and we're like, who are you? And then we became great friends, after that. I mean, it took a minute, because, women, unfortunately, we always just look at each other and judge first. And that's what Farhana was talking a lot about as well. That, and Angel, everybody judges, everybody will judge you, but it is perspective, just like what Melanie said. So, once you are clear on your perspective and clear on, who these people are or who you are yourself, then it makes life easier. It makes life worth living. And that's kind of what I want to jump into, is what is worth living, right? A little bit about me, if you don't know my story, I was in an abusive relationship and got out and, knew I needed to do more. And from there, I started a nonprofit organization, and we work all over the world. And we just expanded to Rwanda to help survivors of domestic violence and sexual abuse. So we're in 3 countries, and then 2 sponsors, and sponsors for 2 organizations in Nepal and also the Netherlands. So it's really awesome. And then now I get to speak on stages with wonderful, amazing rock stars like these women all over the world, and be able to impact so many people. And it's so important to be able to use your story and share your message so you can help so many people worldwide. 2020 has been tough, ladies. And I know all of us have clients who fear, anxiety, don't know what to do. Farhana, you mentioned this earlier, that, I'm so confused. What do I do first? Where do I go? What I want to hear from you ladies is, what advice would you give to somebody who is stuck? 2-part question. And why is it so important to be able to pivot? And then please also, at the end of whatever you say, please tell us how we can get a hold of you. Or if you guys have any free gifts, please also give that away. Angel, would you like to start?
Well, sure. Well, as Melanie was saying, the universe shows up either to provide a way or an obstacle. And it feels like 2020 has just said, obstacle in your way, and you're down and out. And we've had to completely shift everything. I stopped counting. I canceled 38 speaking events that I was scheduled to travel to and speak to. And after 38, I just stopped counting. It was just too depressing to keep track of that. But every day, right, we wake up and we have an option of how we're going to respond to our day. And everything is either a reaction, or we can be proactive for how we are going through it. And I think what keeps me really going is that I've scheduled out. People are counting on me. People are expecting me to show up for a phone call or an event, a Zoom call, a webinar, or just even a text message. And I think reporting to people and staying connected to humans, to humanity right now, is the biggest driving force that's kept me from, I think, really going into a depression, right? Because I can watch the news and get so wrapped up in that, or I get a text message that somebody very near and dear to us has lost their lives due to what's going on right now. And it would be really easy to just curl up into a ball and cry, although I did have the big ugly cry on my 50th birthday, which was just lovely. But it's temporary, right? And it's not so much about what we are doing right now, but it's who we are becoming and who we are going to be when all of this is over and all of this shifts. And I have been incredibly blessed, because for the 2 years leading up to this, I was teaching entrepreneurs how to leverage and create exposure from the comfort of their own home, right? I would wear a sleep mask, right, on stage and say, wake up in the morning, and impact hundreds of thousands. And I was teaching it for time management reasons, right? Instead of going and building your business one-to-one, build it one-to-many. And now that we're stuck at home and this is our option, it has turned it to be a saving grace for so many of us. But out of adversity comes opportunity. And when you have faith and you take action, the world does show up to support you, to guide you, and to create a miracle. Meeting each one of these women would seemingly been this seemingly random event, but it was miraculous how we've all connected and built that relationship. You matter. Right? You're on this planet for a purpose, and what you do and what you say has an impact. Just as we consume food that is junk food, what we consume in our mind can be junk food or it can fuel us. So pay attention to who you listen to, the books you read, the music you listen to, the movies you watch, and pour good in, because you matter and the world needs you. You have a purpose. If you feel like you have a story that if it was told you would change the world, then publicity and media is the next step for you. You can get it started. I've got a complimentary media guide at makeyourbigimpact.com. That's makeyourbigimpact.com. Every day, journalists are looking for stories. They're looking for fresh new stories, fresh new perspectives, human interest stories. They are looking for you. And you can get started with guaranteed media exposure at makeyourbigimpact.com.
All right, you guys, so makeyourbigimpact.com. Amazing work Angel and her team do for so many people. And, you know, what we consume does matter. You listening to this Best You Expo and you showing up makes a difference. And what we consume, you know, the reading great books, the listening to amazing podcasts, it really does impact you greatly, and especially during this crazy time when everybody's so confused. It really helps you learn how to pivot and how not to freak out. And if you do have that freak out session or that cry session, maybe it's needed, and you just wake up the next day and you put one foot in front of the other and say, today is a new day. It's a brand new day. So makeyourbigimpact.com, Angel Tuccy. Melanie, I would love to hear from you on how you're pivoting and how 2020 is for you.
Well, I'm in technology, so I didn't really have to pivot. Mostly people just came to me because they realized they needed to pivot, and I helped them go digital. I help them automate and streamline, optimize their business. So I've never been busier, and I'm sorry, because I know that sounds it's hard, because you know you want to really celebrate in your own success, but when you're doing so while others are suffering, it just feels wrong. And I think that's part of like what the universe has to share with us. It's like, you know, you still need to celebrate your own success, even you know, when things are going on. You just need to do it in such a way that's empathetic, right? So I think my first lesson for people is whatever you say is true, right? That's a Henry Ford quote, right? Whatever you believe is true. And so if you're saying that this is a hard time, it's going to be a hard time. And if you're saying that you're going to be successful during this time, you're going to be successful. You will make it true, because the universe will hear you, and it will help support you make whatever you believe to be true. And so, you know, I've said this to both Farhana and Angel during this time, is that the more I'm isolated, the more I feel like I'll never leave isolation, because this has been a really successful time for me, not just with business coming to me, but it's also given me the ability to really tap into my creativity, really grow my business, grow new lanes within my business, serve in a way that I wasn't serving before, and just sort of put all of the infrastructure in place, whether that's growing my team to be large enough to serve everybody that's coming to us, to having distinct sets of people that are working in the different lanes that we're trying to create, and being able to really hone myself in separating my time into the different aspects. So, you know, I say no to a lot of media because I need creativity time. So I only have so much capacity. Angel is my publicist, and she asks me all the time, and I probably say no more than I say yes. But that's...
Yeah, she's an interesting client, right? Too much exposure, Angel, slow it down.
And it's true. It's that, you know, you welcome what you need, right? And so, I tell her all the time, like, let's just have a trickle on that faucet, because, I want to serve, right? I want to be able to give my all to my clients as well as my prospects. And so I don't want to, I don't want, millions of clients. I want the right number for me at the point I am in business. And so, just leveraging the good. It's the perspective, right? So having the right mindset, which I know is what you're fabulous at, Michelle, is helping people with their mindset. So leveraging that, but then also perspective. Like, okay, so we're in a difficult time. What's the positive of this? Well, you get time to isolate and create and focus and reinvent yourself,
Yeah, super, super awesome. And Melanie, how can people find you or get a hold of you or work with you?
That's the limited faucet, right? If I don't tell them. So my name is right there. I forget that it's always mirrored, right? So Wise Tribe, WYZETRIBE. You can just go to the .com. And I welcome people to work with us by making the first few steps free. So you'll get a free gift bundle worth over $500. So that's how to automate your success, how to always be prepared to accept it. So one of the lessons we learned at the beginning of this pandemic is that no matter where you are in business, you need to be ready to scale, because you never know when that exposure or that Oprah effect is going to happen to you. So you want to be prepared for it. So we help you with how to be prepared.
Awesome. Yeah, it's so important to be prepared. And you guys, so it's Wise Tribe, WYZETRIBE.com, wisetribe.com. And what Melanie does to help people streamline and optimize their businesses is absolutely amazing. And like I said, I've worked with all three of these amazing women. So if you are if you know that there's something more, if you know that you have a product and you just don't know how to reach the market, definitely utilize these services from these amazing women. Again, it's wisetribe.com to reach Melanie. And I would love to hear from Farhana about how you've been able to pivot, because I know that you're doing some great things online now. I see you're doing interviews and all kinds of stuff. So it's wonderful to see growth amongst such good friends. So I'd love to hear from you, Farhana.
Thanks, Michelle. Yeah, so, a lot of what Melanie said is kind of how I view the world as well. When there is something that is seemingly negative to come into your space, I always try to look, what are the lessons? What is the opportunity? What can I be grateful for? And what can I focus my energy so that it's not focused on fear or any kind of inadequacies. So I've had time to figure out how to serve more. So to create more programming, diversify my products. I created a podcast and a show called Brand Boutique Elite, where I have on different experts in all areas of business and life, and they share their great messages. So this is free information that I'm sharing, because there are so many people that are scared and have all these limiting beliefs. And so I thought, what could I do to get in front of more people and to provide little nuggets of gold, for free for people. So I created that show podcast. A lot of my clients too, they are like, well, I do this one thing. And it's like, okay, awesome. So from this one thing that you do that you're really good at, you can create so many different kinds of products from that thing. And I think that that's like an important thing to think about. People think, oh, well, I have to just do this. This is what I do. And it's like, stay in your lane for sure. Like Angel said before, you want to always stay in your lane, because when you're doing one thing and then you completely like flip the script, people are like, well, how are you going to tell me to do that when you just came out of the woodwork to do it? But if you stay in your lane and you just create little products and diversify and tailor it to the world we're living in now, my life is kind of completely the same. The only thing that's different is that I'm not flying all over the world with you ladies, speaking at different events, but I'm doing virtual events. I am doing interviews and podcasts. I'm connecting with a ton of people because, Melanie knows I like to collect the people all over the world. So I just do that on social media now. I just, make appointments with people that I find that I really connect with and build partnerships and things like that there. So it's about taking everything in perspective. And what Melanie said, it's if you're going to say that this is going to be an amazing time and we're going to pray for the people that are sick and that are suffering, but if you keep this mindset that this is going to be amazing and being content in the present moment and not beating yourself up about, we all were supposed to speak on at least 3 different events every month. And that was a great opportunity for our businesses to grow, but to not just focus on that lost experience, but focus on, well, we're still all doing really amazing things right now. We're still helping a ton of people. A ton of people still rely on us. So just being in gratitude of that is super important and helpful. And I've had so much time to, grow my team, structure my team, create more in my business. And I've kind of had an opportunity just to be at peace with myself and my home. And I have also taken the time to spend more with people that I really love. And I think when you can't be around a lot of people, you have to limit your circles, and you want to reach out to people and make sure that they're doing okay, that they're safe, that they're healthy, that, all of these things that I've been focusing on having like a deeper connection and energy with the people in my life, and, just with being at peace with right now, because we don't have control over what's going on in the world. We just have control over like how we're reacting and how we're showing up for others.
Yes, that's very, very true. That's awesome. And Farhana, how can people reach you?
Yeah, so I have 2 gifts. One is a social media style guide, and this will basically help you create your brand style and figure out a little bit about who your customer is, where to find them, all of those kind of things, so that you're actually strategically using your time on social media. And I also have a complimentary strategy call where we'll go over your social media, kind of like what we did in the balcony in Mexico. And we'll go over and say, what is needed and what needs to be removed. And that can all be found on my website, iMedia Exposure. So the letter I, like internet, mediaexposure.com.
So you guys, imediaexposure.com, and what Farhana does is amazing, because she does kind of help you create a platform, and then you can utilize all these other services that these other 2 beautiful ladies are do for the world. And like what all 3 of you have been saying, it's so important to stay connected, right? And it's so important to take the time to spend with the right people. And Farhana, I know you just mentioned that, the right people, the important people in your life. And, oftentimes we have, 50 or 60 friends, or a lot of us have, 5,000 friends on Facebook, but they're not our friends. Our friends are that core group of people who we trust, who we can rely on, who don't judge us, who we can call and get help from. And it's so important to keep a positive mental attitude, to keep life in perspective, because we won't always live like this, but our new norm is going to be different. And it's okay that our new norm is different. We just have to learn to accept it. And accepting it sometimes is very, very difficult for some people to realize, to really understand. So ladies, I want to thank you guys so much. And I want to thank the Best You Expo for allowing us to have this great panel. I would like to actually end with something that Nelson Mandela wrote. So I'm going to read. I know that I'm not supposed to read, but I'm doing it anyway. Nelson Mandela spoke this in 1994 in his inaugural speech. So it's pretty impactful. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. So it is so important to remember not to shrink, not to hide because you're scared of your own greatness, because everybody out there is absolutely amazing and you are great and your stories do make a difference. I would like to give out a 5-step process to help people overcome a lot of their obstacles. All you have to do is text UNITE to 26786. Again, it's UNITE to 26786, and you receive that complimentary. And we thank all these beautiful ladies. Thank you guys so much. And everybody out there, keep your head up, keep going, one foot in front of the other, just keep swimming. All right, thank you guys very much, ladies. We love you.
Thanks, Michelle.
Okay, awesome.